The version 1 beta for Aventurine's new form, Aventurine Waveflair, has recently been released. As the self-proclaimed #1 Aventurine fan EU, I have taken it upon myself to battle Adobe Premiere Pro once more to make a video detailing my thoughts and opinions on his new look. I will be going over his kit, a brief look at what he needs to be built with light cones and relics wise, his teams, and explaining why there's already Doom posting day 1 of release. I will also be mentioning my own hopes for future beta versions. I hope you enjoy my semi-structured yap session. Aventurine Waveflair, or Waven for short, is a DPS quantum elation character whose playstyle can vary depending on who you're running him with. Sure, he can feed into the elation battleship and you can spend half the fight watching your characters play the game. Or you can play him with a more hands-on solo elation experience where he simply pretends his elation scalings don't exist as you run him with normal supports. The main thing his kit centers around is his talent. For a very simplistic explanation, Waven gains stacks of fervor up to a maximum of 30, and when he reaches 10 he unleashes an extra elation skill. After this skill has gone off, the next Aha instant will give Waven a nuclear version of this instead, doing much higher numbers. Supposedly. His other abilities simply work around this, giving him more stacks of fervor and doing decent damage. As I mentioned earlier, Waven can be played in many ways, including in solo elation. This would be uniquely terrible if it weren't for one of his passives, making it so if he's the only elation character in the team, after allies attack he gains 2 certified banger, 1 punchline and increases Aha's speed by 25. Through this, Aha instances won't be going off once every 3 business days and instead allow for a viable solo elation experience. Probably. Aventurine follows the trend of his other elation predecessors by being a magical girl. 4-piece set wise, it's essentially a Silver Wolf 999 build. However, the 2-piece planar set, Punk Lord Stage 0, will require Quantum Damage Orb followed by an ER rope. However, this is all subject to change depending on how they change his kit, so maybe don't throw in all your fuel yet. In terms of light cones, we've got the classic Remembrance throwback of if you don't pull a signature or don't pay for a battle class light cone, are you really a true gamer? Aventurine's options are kind of limited due to elation simply lacking light cones at the minute. However, hope is on the horizon with the adorable light cone A Little Getaway, providing Aven with decent stats all things considered. However, if you're as mental as me and fully determined to pull as much for him as possible, then Waven's signature followed by today's good luck and the battle pass are his best options. And following the theme of single-handedly making sure Mr. Hoyoverse gets another yacht following Waven release, his Eidolons can provide some very comfortable buffs for the fans who sleep next to a teddy of him every night. His teams are truly where the fun begins. As the true Mr. Worldwide of Hoyoverse, this man can submit to the Battleship Elation meta by running Yao Guang EMC and making players continually wish they could split Yao Guang into 3 pieces, or you can run him with the famed Mono Men team for the true height difference experience of all time. Furthermore, wheelchair comps once again carry their DPSs to victory, and you can even run him with the new Robin form if you're just feeling like emulating the beach in your PC rather than actually going outside. Although, let it be known that Waven won't be getting the full benefit of her buffs, this is more just for fun. This man is anywhere, everywhere, all at once, although it can be argued that some of his issues actually start to appear here. Although choice will never be a bad thing, Hoyoverse must have felt otherwise, as instead of doing what they usually do and make a DPS excel in one area, they've made Waven good in all of them, but that's it. He's just okay. With his version 1 synergies with other teammates, they've done the equivalent of breaking his legs before he even began to run. Although some of his multipliers are the highest amongst the elation characters, how he works with other teammates can be questioned, in and of the fact that he doesn't. To put this in an actual example, take how the Ashblade team reacts with Robin SP compared to Waven. With Miss Summeretto over here, Ashblade can make use of both her attack and HP buffs with Ash Veil scaling off attack and Blade HP. In return, Ashblade give Robin buffs, allowing her to actually have a decent explosion of damage every time the birds decide they're tired of who they're looking at. Coupled with Robin's 100% action advance, they work really well together, and we will watch on as every Robin fan rocks back and forth and prays that Mr. Hoyoverse doesn't strike them down from the heavens for having a good SP unit. With Waven, however, this picture changes dramatically, as no longer are Ashblade receiving any notable buffs. In fact, all they are receiving from Waven is a middle finger, as he does not have any buffs for the whole team. Instead, Ashblade buffs go on to him, and supposedly this is the part where I tell you that he does 1 billion damage and wins everything, so it's okay. Except I guess Waven's volleyball game is weak and he misses the style checks and fails most of the time to even hit over 1 million with his enhanced elation skill. Mortonak's blade could probably sneeze on the enemy for more damage. Ultimately, as of right now, he's an upgrade to having 3 characters and nothing else. Robin simply outclasses him in the teams he could slot into, and his performance as an elation DPS is more on par to Eva and Wolf rather than anything better, making him not worth pulling if you already have an elation DPS. That, and Yao Guang hasn't discovered cloning yet. So just for this version 1 performance, the Doom posting is probably warranted. If Hoyo decide they don't like money and he stays this way, then ultimately he will suffer the same fate as Phynon, except somehow even quicker. Even the peddling of an E2 wear probably won't even be able to save him from the literal next DPS rolling around. Or, in this case, the previous one. I inhale copium for breakfast, and if there's one thing that starting a downright psychopathic 1 character in a 4 teammate game challenge has taught me, is that nothing is impossible, unless you're against the space troglodytes stacking fire DOT. It can be comfortably said that there isn't a way in hell that Aventurine's new form is staying as he is. It's simply too janky to work with anyone, and releasing him won't increase shareholder value. The 2 main issues that need to be addressed are that Waven lacks a follow-up attack, and he seems to be caught in the middle of being a DPS and a sub-DPS. For the first point, he lacks the special source needed for a supposed mono men enjoyer to make it feel like the enemy truly got scammed, as the 4 attacks that we supposedly had turned into 12. And for my second point, where a DPS has massive damage but lacks buffs, and a sub-DPS gives lots of buffs but may lack damage, Waven seems to have taken inspiration from both worlds by lacking buffs and damage. Although his multipliers are nice, in a game where if you're balanced you're as good as doomed, they need to be much bigger if he truly wants to work past the problem of not giving much to his team and make up for it in raw output. As well as the obvious fixes for these, such as making his extra elation skill count as a follow-up attack and simply buffing his damage, there are some other things as well that could be really nice to implement. One thing could be having an attack to elation conversion built into his kit, and that way he can work with a lot more supports and overall be very much more universal. Double summer comp would also actually be viable. If you have any other ideas, feel free to let me know. Overall, I do really like Waven. Although there are some changes that need to be made to his kit, I absolutely love what they've done with him. For what was initially Doom posted as being a beach reskin, turned out to actually look really nice, and his animations I would argue are some of the best in the game. His in-game model and Eidolon art are also amazing, and I could probably go into a whole essay about how his character changes are reflected in his design that I will spare you from today. His light cone art is beautiful and his chibis are adorable. For the versions coming ahead, I really hope they do what everyone wants and buff him to make him the T0 DPS he deserves to be. I want to see some absolutely lethal volleyball action. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I know this is a bit different from what I've usually been doing, but I wanted to make a more general video just to show my love for Aventurine, really. This is also technically applicable to version 2 because I didn't really change anything. I'll probably make another video for whatever his version 3 kit turns out to be, so look out for that as well. Thanks for watching.